My name is Bob Jerry. I'm a professor of law here at the University of Missouri School of Law. And on behalf of my colleague and Symposium co-director Chris Wells, I'm pleased to welcome you and all who are watching the live web stream to this symposium sponsored by the Law School Center for the Study of Dispute Resolution and with presented in cooperation with the Law School's Journal of Dispute Resolution on the topic, the First Amendment on Campus, Identifying Principles for Best Practices for Managing and Resolving Disputes. Our symposium today begins with the observation that the free exchange of controversial or sensitive ideas is fundamental to the academic mission of our universities. However, as no one in this room needs to be reminded, events on our nation's campuses, events which have occurred with increasing frequency since 2015, vividly demonstrate that operationalizing the principle of free expression in a university community presents enormous challenges. Opposing narratives compete to describe our campus environments. One narrative portrays today's students as hypersensitive and intolerant as they seek protections against offensive words and ideas with resulting sacrifice of both intellectual rigor and First Amendment values. A counter-narrative says that the rise in verbal abuse and violence against historically persecuted groups requires the prohibition of limitation of hateful, intolerant, or threatening speech on our campuses because learning is impossible in an environment where members of the community feel unsafe. In this symposium, at times we will examine the tension between these two narratives. But this being the annual symposium of the Center for the Study of Dispute Resolution, our focus will be on how universities can most effectively manage the enduring conflict embedded in the First Amendment and what practices we can identify and implement to manage and resolve disputes involving free expression on our campuses. Now, before we go any further, I want to thank several people whose hard and excellent work was essential in getting us to this point today. First, and a very special call out for our CSDR assistant, Laura Coleman, who is probably outside in the hallway, but her steady hand on all the logistics of this has been superb. Karen Nayland for her work on publicity and the website, Casey Baker and Liz McCune for their work on communications, Daryl Yeager and Chris Williams for our IT support here at the college, plus the campus academic support tech team for help with web streaming, Lynn Byler for her assistance to Laura on event planning, Lisa Jerry, who is at home but will make the Jerry household available this evening for our speakers. I know she's not watching on the web stream, but I'll tell her I said that when I get home. And Emma Altide, our JDR Symposium editor, and the editor-in-chief, George Kukas, and their colleagues on the JDR editorial board for their help in getting our speakers where they need to be, and for their continuing efforts that will lead to the publication of the contributions of our speakers in a later edition of the journal. To Dean Lidsky and CSDR Director Raphael Healy for their support, the CSDR faculty for their support, and last but hardly least, to our speakers whose willingness to come to Columbia and participate in this conversation is greatly participated. And of course to our audience in the room and watching on the internet for your interest and in our program. Please join me in giving a hand to all of these who helped make this possible today. Another important announcement is that restrooms are in the corner of the building on all floors. This program is approved for 6.7 hours of CLE credit in Missouri, and the CLE forms are available on the table outside of the room. If you wish to submit the hours to in another state, please see Laura Coleman and she'll help you with that. There are sign-in sheets on the same table for students who are attending today's symposium as part of one of their courses. Well, I'm now pleased to introduce our Dean of the Law School and a renowned First Amendment scholar in her own right, Larissa Lidsky, Dean Lidsky, for the official welcome.
Good morning and welcome. I am so thrilled to be here at the University of Missouri hosting this incredible collection of dispute resolution and First Amendment experts. And I am so happy all of you have come. Many of you have traveled from afar to be with us here today. And I am especially excited to be part of a law school that is at the forefront of important issues on our campuses and looking at those issues in a different light. And so I really am pleased that the conflict resolution frame is one we're going to be applied to free speech issues on campus. So with that, my husband reminded me when I got up this morning, remember there's only 10 minutes allocated between you, Professor Jerry, and Dean Healy. So with that, I just want to say welcome. I know we're going to have a wonderful day here together, learning together about these issues and how to take best practices into the future to deal with things like what happens when Richard Spencer comes to campus, for example, as he did at the University of Florida recently. So I am looking forward to speaking with and learning from all of you. Thank you.
And now I'm pleased to introduce the Director of the Center for the Study of Dispute Resolution and Associate Dean Raphael Healy.
Good morning. I am a professor here at the law school, and during the last 3 years, I have had the honor of serving as director of the Center for the Study of Dispute Resolution. I joined Professor Jerry and Dean Liskey in welcoming you here. Since its creation more than 30 years ago, the center has been at the forefront of advancing our understanding of conflict and the processes that are used to resolve conflicts. In the last decade, we have expanded our focus to explore how dispute resolution and practice play out in a specific context. That is, we have been exploring how does dispute resolution work in action. Today's program, I think, is a perfect example of those efforts. By bringing together First Amendment scholars, dispute resolution scholars, and university administrators who have to deal on a daily basis with the intersection between these areas, we hope to advance our understanding of both First Amendment law, dispute resolution theory, and also to provide some practical advice to those in the field who have to deal with these issues on a day-to-day basis. We thank you all for being here, and we look forward to this exciting program. Thank you.